Hello, folks. Welcome again to another Premium Spotlight. Yeah, we're doing a bunch of these. Welcome back to the channel if you guys are here again. If you guys are new, welcome. Nice to meet you. Hope you guys had some fun. This is the Premium Spotlight. This is we go over premium and all that kind of aspects and whatever. And today we have the new Tier 8 German cruiser, Mainz. Mainz. I pronounce it as Mainz, and that's how I would pronounce it if I was doing it a German accent kind of thing, and so on and so forth. So, Tier 8 Mainz. This is a project that was designed right around the same time as the Admiral Hipper classes at the time. And if you guys know it very much looks like the Admiral Hipper and the Prince Eugen, because basically it is. This ship was designed and to be correct with the historical records, it had to make one with lower calibers so that it didn't make the enemies, its potential enemies, think that they were preparing for themselves for a massive war fight and everything else. So they actually had to make a light cruiser. But what the German Kriegsmarine did in secret was really that the project would have the ability to take these 150mm guns, remove them, and put the Admiral Hipper guns instead of the beds, because they were the exact same barbettes and everything else. All you had to do was pull the turret out and switch it out with the bigger caliber gun. But this is what that project would have been like if we would have had a Hipper class ship or a Prince Eugen or the Admiral Hipper, and just had those 150 guns that were designed in the 1930s. So, let's go over this ship with every aspect on how it can be and how it plays out from all the way through. So let's start with the firepower. Alright, so let's talk about the Mainz's main battery guns, secondaries, and torpedoes. Yes, this thing has torpedoes too, for those who have never played the Hipper or the Prince Eugen. Anyway, so Mainz has its removed guns from the Admiral Hipper and the Prince Eugen, and it was replaced with the 150mm L60s that you see on the actual, if anybody remembers, the, not Consberg, the Nuremberg, the Tier 6. Yes, that's right. The Tier 6 gun has been mounted in a Tier 8 ship. And a lot of people would be going, why? Why? And not questioning this, because they would think, oh, that just sounds like terrible. And you would be absolutely wrong.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong.
And you would be completely wrong for these factors. Remember that the Nuremberg at Tier 6, which had 3 turrets, 2 in the back, 1 in the front, had a firing 10 shots per minute and 6-second reload. But this is 8 turrets, so that's 12 rounds every 6 seconds. And at 10 seconds, and after a minute, that's 1,220 rounds that you just fired out at enemy ships. That's a lot of firepower coming at them. With an 8% chance of fire, and that's not including Demolition Expert or the flags to increase that, that's a very serious and viable chance. High explosive on these shells do have only 1,700, but remember, it's 150mm guns, so you will be hitting a lot of ships. Destroyers would be in trouble. You would be a good deterrent against those for countering those stills. Cruisers are in trouble, because even up to Tier 10, you can pen with 150mm gun, even superstructures, so there's your fires right there. You might bounce a few spots, but that's okay. That's bound to happen with some higher armored locations. And that's not including hitting carriers and battleships. Superstructures are in trouble with these things. You can just burn ships, and lightly armored areas such as like the front and rears of like the French, which are all 32mm around their whole structure, you're going to be hitting it with fire chances. You can easily do that. And that's going to be causing major problems for those kind of ships. Armor piercing, 3,900. You can Citadel ships with that easily. 150mm guns can penetrate very well and can actually deal massive damage. That's not including the torpedoes in this thing, which, yes, they are only 6 kilometers because they are the Germans. But, you know, if you guys remember playing any of the Germans, you know, like from the top tier ones down to the lower tiers, you know that all too well how to set those up. A deterrent against anybody getting too close from you or getting into a position around the island and then dropping the torps as you come in for the kill. It is a well-executed weapon. It is well-executed gameplay. And this thing is devastating in the right aspects. So let's get on to now, how's the armor? Okay, folks, so let's talk about the armor with this ship and its AA, because I like to put those both together with this kind of segment, because if you're talking about protection, you might want to talk about the protection of your ship, including its anti-air defenses. So, let's go over this. So, the ship here in terms of survivability on the Mainz is a little similar to the Admiral Hipper class ships, or Prince Eugen, they're very much. However, remember, unlike the Prince Eugen, the Mainz has no repair party, doesn't have a heel. She also does not have that 27mm plating that all of her sisters have, the Prince Eugen Hipper have. I have to keep repeating this because people will have a tendency to forget. Anyway, her midship is 27mm thick, but her upper bow is only 25mm. So that does mean that this ship is vulnerable to the 380 or 381mm shell. That means like 16-inch shells like you see on Vladivostok or on Nelson, technically tier 7 even has that technically, or even include the classic classes like Alabama, Massachusetts from the North Dakota classes, and what's not even don't even forget the other ships such as Colorado has 16-inch shells. Those are 406s. All these ships in question can pen it and overmatch through this ship. And that means for this one in question, if you are putting yourself in harm's way like a fool, you are going to be sent to J.B. Jones' locker very quickly in this ship. And people are going to call you a bloody fool. Because this ship is good, but you can't play it like a bloody fool. You can't take a punch and expect to walk away with it fine. You're going to get hurt, and not in a fun way. It's not going to be kinky with leather. And you're going to be sitting there crying like a little whiny little baby if you get screwed up like that. On top of that, here's the good thing. The ship's AA is fantastic. With its ship's AA rating, it's pretty high. This is not including basic or advanced fire training. You have 12 quad 20 mils. You have 18 twin 37 mils, like the Bofors kind of. They're the German flak rounds. And you got your dual purpose 105s. So it's basically, this ship is basically the Cleveland strapped onto it with the 150 mils. Which makes this thing more sound like something way too familiar. And we'll get to that later on. But overall, without putting the defensive AA, as most players would probably do something else, putting hydroacoustic on, this thing is flat out nasty. It can throw out 309 damage per second to aircraft carriers. That's the same levels of Baltimore. And that's not including if you hit the O key. And sometimes, I've seen it. I've literally gotten 1,000 damage off an aircraft carrier, off of his planes, because he just got too close and the flak rounds hit him. And he lost 1,000 something, over 1,000 damage on one flak round. So it is fantastic how much damage he can do. And how long, and like I said before, and the armor is decent, but you have to play it right. So let's now finish this up in a nice bow of some gameplay and explain how I feel about this ship. Okay, so let's go over the ship with a nice bow here to amp it up. So the ship's speed is 32 knots, its turning circle 720 meters, and its rudder shift is 10.5, which on paper stock, it's not great, it's not terrible, and it's right down the middle of the road, which is comfortable for even me as a warship player. On top of that, its concealment on paper stock 15.3 kilometers, and detectability in by air is 7.5 kilometers. Now you can reduce that quite handsomely, quite a bit with the concealment expert and the commander skill as well. This brings it down quite significantly to way under that range that would be a threshold of the danger zone. So it is really, really enjoyable distance because your firing range is 17.5 kilometers. So you can apply a lot of damage at a very, very decent angle. Broadsides, you can fire broadsides at 38 degrees towards the rear, only 40 though. But the penetration of these things, just with the high velocity, means that these things can be compared to like the 152s you see armed on ships at her. You can compete with the Clevelands and stuff like that. With this ship having the ability of having the high explosive, very compared to the Chapayev, it's flawless. It's perfect. The ship with the velocity, the shells being 150 millimeters, where you can just put that 1/4 penny you see on the typical Germans that they have in the game. This means that with a 4 captain skill, you don't have to spend the skill avoiding that inertia high fuse, and including that you can hit like tier 10 battleships and just burn them down the bits. It's just giving that cherry on the cake, and you just want to kiss somebody on the cheek with it and burn them alive. So for this ship, you don't have the heal like we said before, but you do have damage control, hydroacoustic, defensive AA between the two, and a catapult fire to actually increase that AA defense for yourself. You know, if you're getting some hot water with a couple of carriers, you can drop those or drop it near your own teammates and have it circle around to provide extra anti-air support. And this is where this ship becomes what it is golden for. If you guys haven't seen Wargaming's content on this ship, they said it's a great support ship, and they are perfectly right in that aspect. But then, and more. This thing could do more than just being a support ship. I've single-handedly had multiple cases where me and other friends have played it where we were a flanking position, or we were on a side position behind islands, or we were doing very much like you would see in a Cleveland, or we were doing very much in the Chapayev, where we were working support, but we were also getting ourselves in positions to help spot or scout or counteract different positions. And because of what the ship has, including that German hydroacoustic, which is perfect compared to other ships in the game, it allows you to actually put yourself in a great position to work effectively with the team. Its torpedo armament is comparable to the Hindenburgs of tier 10, which is fantastic at tier 8, just to give it an extra, extra gravy on whatever you're eating, so to speak, and it gives you a lot of fun. Now, its hull pool 42,500 is quite a bit compared to most cruisers in this game, and it does help you out every bit, because remember, you have no heals, so you're going to need every bit of health you got. And you will be doing it because people have made errors in the ship. And what I said before, you cannot get into a brawl with this thing unless you know you're going to win the fight and you got yourself in a position to take the fight to them and they have no way to counter you. You're going to win. But if you don't have all your ducks in a row and you just go Leroy Jenkins in there without preparing for yourself, and there's ships that are bigger caliber than you are in major trouble. And what I mean by bigger than you, I mean the higher than 15-inch shells. I'm talking about Tirpitz. I'm talking about Bismarck. I'm talking about North Carolina. I'm talking about any of those big ships. You are in trouble if you put yourself in harm's way the wrong way. You will get deleted. You're going to be sent back home crying to mother. But overall, this ship is just fantastic the way it is. And if you know what you're doing, you know how to play a very good out supporting, flanking, just ruining everybody's fun removing the making yourself the fun police and them the ones crying in chat for cheating, you are going to be having way too much fun this ship. Is it great as a great ship? I give this a recommendation, hands down. Mainz is a fantastic ship that you actually will love. You guys will have a lot of fun in. You'll be more than welcome to play this thing. You'll be sitting in your chair with a nice cup of coffee or something tea, enjoying the burns. You're burning people down. And if anybody's recommending anything, go look at a Hindenburg commander. That would be perfect for this ship because this thing is a perfect commander trainer for your cruiser lines as well. So feel free to pick this up. It is in a premium shop right now for $45.20. As currently as this review is coming out this weekend. As always, take care of yourselves. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys are wanting any other questions, feel free to write in the comments down below. Hit that like button. And you guys take a look in the description down below. There's my Discord, my Twitch channel, everything is down there for you guys to look up and link up to. As always, take care. I hope to see you all on the high seas.